Queens, and welcome to Queens Around the Country, our show from my home to yours, where we're visiting with some of our favorite queens in quarantine to see how they're holding up, what they're occupying their time with, their thoughts about digital drag, and of course, what they think about this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Plus, answer questions from all of our patrons. Today, we have one of our Hey Queen favorites. She's a missus. She's looking good and she's feeling gorgeous. It's the one and only Mrs. Kasha Davis.
Hi.
Hey, Queen.
Hey, Qween. How are you?
Sweetie, it's always a pleasure to see you. We haven't seen you for a while.
I know it's been a bit. I mean, of course, I get to see you on the WWW,
Yeah.
and we'll catch each other at DragCon and all that stuff. But it's so good to see your face here today in this crazy time.
Well, let me tell you something, Mrs. Davis. You know, Lady Red lives in this house as well. But Lady Red does not always want to say hello to the guest of Queens Around the Country. But today she heard Mrs. Kasha Davis was going to be here. And she said, bitch, I'm going to pop in. Get over here, Lady Red,
Hey,
real
Red.
quick.
Where is she? Oh my
Hey!
gosh. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Love you!
Oh my gosh. I love you. Look at you just having a little bit of quarantine makeup and hair, just lounging around, looking gorgeous.
J-Lo, I love it. You better do that. Is that Casa Glam wigs?
You know what? This is Enigma wigs, but Darian calls this my Ariana Grandma wig. And I'm like, well,
She's young and spicy.
I love you.
I love you too. And I'm still an old bag, but I still got to try to look at least, I don't know, 49.
You look good, sweetie.
Oh, you're sweet.
All right.
I love you.
So, Kasha, how have you been holding up in quarantine?
Oh, I am the kind that has to keep myself busy. So I found things to do, whether it's, I would like to call it a distraction from the news. If I see any more of that Trump, there's no words left to say. So I can't watch him. Mr. Davis gets the news and informs me. And if it get too involved on what people are posting on Facebook, I get stressed out. So, I've been walking Max as much as possible and just spending the time with Steve. And, we're together. We're married 17 years, 7 of them legal, 3 happy. So right now, this is the most consecutive hours we've spent together. And I want to tell you something. It's been marvelous. We've been able to really rekindle a lot of fun and laughs and intimacy, and I'm very grateful for that. So I have had that positive experience, but it's a crazy time, and I'm the type that's got to stay busy, so I find other stuff to do, on the WWW and get out there, and I think as an entertainer, it's my responsibility to communicate like what you're doing, give us a positive distraction.
Back when you were free to travel wherever you were part of London DragCon, and you and Mr. Davis appeared on the lineup there together. I love that you guys are appearing together places. Tell me about that.
You know what? He's my love of my life. And I thought, why aren't we sharing this experience together? I talk about Mr. Davis all the time. And one of the reasons why I was named Mrs. Kasha Davis was the idea that when I was a kid, there wasn't a lot of that to be seen. And for me, I did not see a gay marriage. I didn't see if there was, gay people, they were in the closet, this, that, and the other. And I thought, wait a minute, if I'm going to travel with anybody, it's going to be him. And why not experience this together? And when we walk down that runway, people just giggle, and we get so many positive messages from it. So, he's with me for as many of the drag cons as possible.
Now, you've also been doing, like you said, keeping yourself very busy on the WWW. You're an international celebrity housewife, of course, and you've been doing story times. Tell me about that.
Can I tell you, it is my favorite thing to do in drag. So much so, I wrote 2 children's books. And
wow.
Yeah, they're little Eddie P wants to be a star, and your gift is your smile. And this all coincided with the experience of doing Storytime at a local theater called Blackfriars Theater, and we called it Imagination Station. It's like, imagine Pee-wee's Playhouse, meets Mr. Rogers. There's the camp, obviously, and then there's the honesty that Mr. Rogers provided. And, because the kids, they don't need to be taught why I'm in drag. They don't need to explain that. It was more about how to treat somebody who's different with kindness. And I was having such a joy. There's over 100 and some kids sitting there smiling at me. And they just come to see Mrs. Kasha Davis, who lives at the theater and reads books and wears sparkly dresses. They don't know what drag. They're just happy to see Mrs. Kasha Davis. And so as soon as it happened, I said, these parents are home. They need a break. And Steve is here. And we ripped apart this room, this extra bedroom. We turned it into a studio. And I said, let's do it. Let's start doing Storytime Live. And it's been magical. It's a moment for me to hopefully get quiet and speak to these kids about kindness, about, connecting with others. And what's great is, we were saying last night on our walk, Mr. Davis is like, there's a lot of adults that are enjoying this. It's not just kids. We're getting messages from all over the world. And I think that's marvelous,
That's great. It's so fun. Now, there have been a lot of people have been pushing back at these drag queen story times. What do you say to those people?
Get a life. I mean, honestly, all my life, if I saw something I didn't like, I didn't necessarily, or protest it, in terms of entertainment. And I think what their idea is that we're trying to push an agenda on these kids. And what we're doing is we're showing kids to love their most genuine self, be themselves. And I had a little boy ask me, finally he came up and he said, "You're not really a girl." And I'm like, "You figured it out." And then he was my helper for the rest of the day. He's like, as long as you're being honest, the kids get it. They don't need anything more. But I think the trick is, and I'm such a cheerleader for drag story time or story time for the kids, that if a queen is out there, excuse me, and they're struggling and they're trying to do it at a public library, sometimes that's where you get the flack. I think that it's great to do it at a theater because it's a private event, and I don't get as much negativity that way. Because people, it's my money's going to the library. Your money's not going to the library. You don't know where your tax dollars are going. They get on their soapbox, and then they're ruining it for the kids.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you're doing it. That's important and good work.
Well, and it's fun. I mean, I know Nina West is doing it as well. And the idea that, we can share something that we didn't have as a kid. And could you imagine, what some of these kids what kind of queens we're going to get? I mean, in a few months, these 5-year-olds are going to be on Drag Race, and they're going to win. And then what? We've messed it up for ourselves as older queens.
Speaking of Drag Race, what are your thoughts about this season?
Well, first of all, how about the fact that we've got Drag Race this, Drag Race that, Drag Race the other, drag going to the UK? I mean, it's amazing. I love that it continues to grow in popularity, and it's more and more produced, and this, that, and the other. I honestly, I am amazed at what these girls bring to the runway. I'm wondering what bank is giving the loan for these costumes, because I'm talking to my girl Darian Lake, and I'm like, girl, if we get on All Stars, we're gonna have to remortgage the house because they're gonna have an expectation. I grew up in a different idea with drag, where you created things on your own. It's all valid, but it's just that is the first thing that impresses me. I'm like, this runway is like impeccable. I love Gigi Good. I mean, she's just. She's overall talented. She's incredible looking. She's fun. I mean, I gravitated to Britta because of obvious reasons. We're just old, kind of, mouthy. This is the way we used to do it, or I had this success. Listen, I was a host and I messed up on the runway, and that's how I got eliminated, because it said welcome. At any rate. But Jan is actually. Jan's 4, but Jan, she was a roommate of my pianist. That's a fancy word for piano player. I know we all like a pianist. So they were roommates. I was so excited to see her, and I think that it's always interesting to see where they'll head. But it's interesting. A critique is that I don't need to hear the same catchphrases over and over from season 2 all the way through. Like, let the girls do their new catchphrases and stuff. But it's amazing to see where it's going, and it's amazing to see we've got celebrities on Drag Race now, and it's great.
Now you're coming to us live from Rochester, and you're trapped in the house in Rochester. What are the places that you're missing the most in Rochester, and where are your home bars there?
Well, first of all, my girl Darian Lake and I, we like to go for a nice ladies' lunch. She's veered off to salad now, but I like a nice pancake. And there's a place called Steve's Diner. I'm not kidding you. The pancake is this big. I could go there twice a week. You would think that I would have lost weight because I'm no longer having the pancakes, but that's not happening. I seem to be packing on the pounds, the quarantine 15 or whatever the heck it is. Oh, yeah. Our home bar is Roar here in Rochester, and it's a fabulous place. One of the Qweens that I started with, she and one of the DJs opened up their own place, and it is marvelous. It combines the nightclub feel and sort of the Hamburger Mary style feel and brought that together, and they are including everyone. So I'm devastated for them because we started hosting our Drag Race parties, and they just opened within like several months. So, but they're going strong, much like a lot of Qweens. They have their digital stuff going online. So, and Rain Lounge, of course, in Syracuse, who brings in all the Rue girls.
Yeah.
So it's tough because I know that these places, the nightlife suffers in this particular situation because obviously, a lot of people's money has been affected because their work isn't there.
Yeah. Hopefully everything will open soon and you'll be able to get back to those places and turn it out for the kids. Once again, I know you guys were doing comedy at the Carlson as well.
Yes. Would you believe? Now, Darian Lake, the funniest Qween I know, she and I have been working together for years, and we were like, can we do stand-up? Of course we could do stand-up. We weren't thinking. It has been a blast. We have been having such a great time. And again, it's the nightclub kind of comedy club feel, and then it's open. Everybody feels welcome. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't feel welcome at a gay bar, but the show is a drag show. You know what time they start? They're supposed to start at 11. They don't start till 12:30.
Right.
So we can get the 8 o'clock crowd in, and between that and our edibles drag me to brunch that we've been doing, we sell out. It's a nice small place, and these girls, they come in for brunch and they just can't give you all of their money fast enough. So it's wonderful. So it's just
love it.
Yes.
Well, part of Qweens Around the Country is that our Patreon subscribers can ask questions of you, and we have a bunch of questions for you from our patrons.
Fabulous.
First question is, who is your favorite and ultimate musical diva? And that is from Brant.
Well, Brant, it's Tina Turner. I tell you, I am obsessed with Tina Turner. Not just her energy, her music, her spirituality. And my most favorite story is that the first time I saw her on stage and I was shaking. I was a teenager and I couldn't believe it. I ran up to the front of the stage and she's singing "What You Get Is What You See," and I'm shaking and I fainted. The only one time in my life when I fainted down on the ground for Tina Turner. And then the last time I saw her, it was her farewell tour. She's singing and I gave her a bunch of flowers and her tiny little hand shook my hand and she's singing and I said, "You're the best." That's all I could think of. Because, Tina Turner, she's simply the best. And I was like, oh my God. So I shook her tiny little hand. Oh, I'm obsessed.
Love it. Okay, now our next question is, which of your season 7 sisters are you still in touch with?
I stay in touch with Tempest. I stay in touch with Katya. I texted Trixie, and she didn't answer me, and then she finally answered. Well, then on her show, on her show, she's like, She complained. She says, "Oh, how about when you get a text from somebody you haven't talked to in 5 years? Leave me alone." I was like,
Oh.
"It was me, Trixie." I text all the girls. Whenever I see what's going on, I try to stay in touch. I'm trying to get Max out of the closet, not our dog. Max, the drag queen. I think she's amazing. And I just want to see her back out on the scene. Candy Ho is bringing out these fabulous new looks. So it's great to see all of her. And Sasha Bell, I mean, who wouldn't sleep with her? She looks amazing right now.
Hi.
Check her out.
All right. Well, please let Max know that we want to get her on Hey Qween when everything comes back to normal, too. We think she needs to come back as well.
I'm going to text her after this.
Well, thank you, Candy C, for that question. Now we have a bunch of questions live from our YouTube viewing right here. We're live on YouTube, and if you're part of the Patreon, you also can be part of the live viewing. Sasha Flick wants to know, other than your own season finale, which season finale has been your favorite to see live?
Oh, well, it was an amazing experience, honestly, going to see Darian Lake in her season finale, the season 6 girls. I mean, Bianca has been a dream to me. We've become friends. I toured with her. I opened for her, which was an absolute. I can't even believe she asked me. To this day, I'm like, did you really mean to ask me? So we had a wonderful time. And so those girls, that season 6 cast, it was great. And it was obviously before 7, and I was just, well, I was hammered, but I was also, there was always time for a cocktail. But it was just those girls. I love that season.
Okay. Vidal wants to know what you were planning to do for Snatch Game on your season.
Oh, well, I was planning to do either Joan Rivers or Liza Minnelli. And I was having the sense, if you watch season 7, when we did the little fashion small challenge, what do you call it, the mini challenge, we were doing a fashion and we had to do Bjork, and I was like, let me do Joan. I was just feeling like I had to get something else out, and I trusted my instincts, and I did a little bit of Joan then. Luckily, because then I went home. I just wanted to show that I was that's something that I do. I had thought about Joanne Worley. I had thought about Dame Edna. These are girls that I had on my tape. So, a lot of them have been done. So when I'm cast on All Stars, because you have to put the positives into the universe.
That's right.
Maybe I'll be Ariana Grandma. I don't know.
I love that. And I would love to see you on All Stars.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, now here's a big question. Peter Mooney Smith says, how difficult was it to tell your wife that your marriage was over and that you are gay? This is some old history, but you can get into it.
I'm going to get into it. It gets me a little bit emotional right now because we were high school sweethearts. We were together from 88 to 98, and we truly loved each other. We obviously had to go separate ways. We never really... I came out to her once while we were dating, and she was like, you're just European. We'll deal with it. What? And then, I kept going with the, trying to please everybody else, and obviously I couldn't keep up the act, and neither could she. She wanted to have a different life. We never reconnected, and last year she passed away.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm sorry. And so I don't believe in regret. I know, I went to the psychic show, and and she said she's there. She was there with me. I know that those that have passed can still be present in your life, and that connection is still there. But I'll tell you, I had hoped she would love all of this, and I know she's watching in her own way. But we never really got to reconnect, and she had her life and children, and that's wonderful, and so did I. But yeah, so I love her, and we're moving forward at this point, but God rest her soul.
Yes, for sure. One last fun question is from Just Joe. He wants to know whether you've considered rebooting Kasha Cooks.
Ooh, Kasha Cooks. Well, that's where Pandora and I did that show together, and that's where we came up with there's always time for a cocktail. Well, Mrs. Kasha Davis during that time was the housewife who couldn't get enough of trying to become a celebrity and would get drunk and mess everything up. And so I have tried to bring back different versions of it, but Mrs. Kasha Davis is now sober. It'll be 5 years this summer. Ed is also. So it's like, how do I bring that back? Do I bring it back as drunken Mrs. Kasha Davis? Does she relapse? Because I'm all about acting that out.
Right.
And that could be fun. So it's definitely, listen, now we have the time. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff on the internet, the digital drag fests and all these other shows. So why not put it together now? Thanks for the inspiration.
All right, Just Joe, you did it. Now, last but not least, we love your cute Pucci, Max.
Max.
We're wondering whether can we get a cameo for Max?
I'm seeing if he's out there. I'm texting my husband.
Max is like Lady Red. He's like, I don't want to see this show. I ain't in here for that.
Oh my gosh. You know what? No, he's not available.
He is unavailable. Well, we showed a picture of how cute he is, and Max must be nice to have around, along with Miss Davis, to really give you that love.
Max is my soul pup. You know, we adopted him, and he was a sickly dog, and we kind of nursed him back. And I know, you know, animals can sense that, and they know these people are taking care of me. And he is just my heart. He sleeps. He puts his head on me in bed and his butt on Steve, and he's our baby. I mean, and like if I get stressed out or in my head and I'm not focused, he will literally come over and push on me, like stop it, you know. So
sweet. Kasha, thank you so much for getting to chat with us today. You know you're one of our favorites here at Hey Queen.
You know what? Here comes Max.
Oh my gosh!
Here he is. Come say hi, Max.
Lucky us! I can hear his little paws coming through. Okay. Look at those ears. Look at that little baby.
It down to show.
Let's see. We got a treat for Max. There he is. Come on, Max. Oh my God, what a little pooch.
He wants his treat. There he goes.
There he goes. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, Max. And thank you, Kasha, so much. Always a pleasure to see you. And I hope we can see you in real life real soon.
Yes. Stay safe. Give Lady Red a big hug from me.
Will do. And thanks to everybody watching. We hope you stay safe. And remember, Patreons get to ask the questions of our queens here on Queens Around the Country. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, Kasha, we love you. Bye, Queen.
Bye-bye.